In this morning's Herald this morning, it said after the 1st of July, there is insufficient funds in Auckland Transport to operate its public transports. That's buses, ferries, it covers everything, and trains as well. So that is a real concern, particularly when this regime has been trying to get us out of our cars and into public transport, and now they haven't got enough funds for it. I've got George Wood here from the Devonport Takapuna Local Board to get his views on it. George, what was your first reaction to this?
Well, it's been a thing that I've been really concerned about for quite some time. You know, I came home in a bus yesterday from Takapuna up to Forest Hill. I was the only passenger in the bus for most of the journey. Now, you can't keep running buses like that, and I don't think this 50% reduction has seen a huge move of people out of their cars into buses. So I think really we're in big trouble at the moment.
I would agree, particularly with the regime of trying to get us out of our vehicles. Well, of course, George, the other big controversy is the cycle lanes are getting priority at the moment, and they're pumping millions and millions of dollars into that. Do you have a view about that?
Auckland Transport put in a bike lane from Northcote Point along Lake Road, around Northcote Road to Aotearoa Road in Takapuna. You know, that cost them $26 million. And I went down there earlier this week because I was interested to see how many people were using it. And for 1 hour between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, I saw, I think it was 20 cyclists using that, and most of them were going to school at Takapuna Intermediate. You know, it just shows me that people have not moved to the other forms of transport in the way that we wanted.
Now, you've just demonstrated that hardly anybody's using them. But what happens if the public transport stops? What's going to happen to older people like ourselves who are not probably agile enough to get on a bike or even to walk to the supermarket when they're actually public transport's going to be slowed up or whatever they got to do?
Well, I think, Max, there's two things there really. One is the fact that people have not got back into going into this central business district down the bottom of Auckland, and also they're not still going back to work in the suburbs. They're still working from home, many people, and that is a real problem because we don't have that large number of commuters using the public transport at the peak hours where we've got a lot more buses on that time. But usually the ones that suffer are the inter-peak buses, Monday to Friday, but the buses at night and then the buses in the weekends. And that's where you've got to try and get people out so that they get a taste for public transport and they move over towards it.
George, we're in a lot of trouble. Where do you think this funding's going to come from?
Well, the funding is really, say the Central Rail link is 50% of that comes from the ratepayers of Auckland. So, you know, if you're building a project like that, we're duty bound to fund that project unless the government becomes big-hearted and comes to the party with more than 50%. But, you know, it's turbulent times. You've got a local body election in October where I think some of the leading contenders for the mayoralty are saying we're not going to be funding to that extent, and they're going to cut back and they're going to, you know, trim projects. So where we move to from now is a very difficult situation, Max.
This is alarming that this has come about because obviously the council don't have any money. The new people coming in want to save money, and wow, we've got this situation arising where even public transport could be cut back. That is a huge concern for us, George. Look, thank you for coming. Have you got any final words?
Well, no, I just say that the areas that are going to lose their public transport, according to that article in the Herald, are the outlying areas where they do need public transport in places like South Auckland, and some of the newer areas where they're putting public transport, and it looks like they're going to be cutting that back. So, you know, I think this needs a lot of community discussion